Hoop 7 proudly brings to you Basketball Hustle, featuring your hosts, the writer, Chris Pike, and the scoring machine, Shawn Redhage. Now it's time for another episode of Hoop 7's Basketball Hustle.
Hello and welcome to a very special bonus edition here of Hoop 7's Basketball Hustle for this week. As you hopefully have already listened to, myself, Chris Pike, and the scoring machine, the Perth Wildcats legend, Shawn Redhage, have broken down everything that happened in the NBL Grand Final Series, and then with the breaking news of the series being cancelled, and we went through all the range of emotions about what we think should happen, and especially Shawn Redhage's expert views on how the championship should be decided and how we should all reflect back on this season, and I guess as we await for the news from the NBL on the official decision. But as an aside to that, as a very special bonus for all of our loyal listeners here at Hoop 7's Basketball Hustle, we've caught up with Perth Wildcats vice captain and who should soon to become just one of four players in NBL history to be a six-time championship winner, Jesse Wagstaff. He was kind enough to donate some time to reflect back on what has happened this season, what's happened in the last 24 hours, what he thinks should happen with the championship, what he thinks will happen over the next 24 hours, and what his plans are moving forward. So a very special treat for all of our listeners, and hopefully you enjoy it here on Hoop 7's Basketball Hustle. Okay, Jesse Wagstaff joining us here on Hoop 7's Basketball Hustle. Unfortunately, your old mate Shawn couldn't be with us, so you're stuck with me, Jesse. Reminds me of about 10 years ago. We used to head down to the Sport FM offices and we did a show, I think it was called the NBL Zone for a little while. So this isn't totally foreign to you.
No, we did. I remember that like it was yesterday, except it was an hour drive each way. I remember that like it. Yeah, it was just the other day.
You didn't do that drive yourself too often, though. You used to make me pick you up.
Oh, occasionally. just because it was an hour drive, needed some company.
Now, I mean that makes me reminisce that this has been a long journey that I've been on with you. Your whole career, I've seen you play in Perth, and now you've won 5 championships, hopefully 6. It should be 6. We'll wait and see what ends up happening. But it's been a remarkable journey, and unfortunately for you, you've known me the whole way through. I reckon it was your first day in Perth or your second day in Perth. We caught up in the old Perry Lakes offices, and here we are 11 years later, still managing to catch up.
Yeah, it's been a long journey. You know, it's as you said, 11 years, and back in Perry Lakes, a lot of things have changed. Obviously, that building's there no more. You got the new Perry Lakes Stadium, definitely less asbestos riddled than the last. Yeah, new facilities, new arena, new CEO, new coach. Like, you know, I've got 3 kids now. Like, things have definitely changed. But it's been a pretty wild ride.
Now, we can reminisce a little bit later. Let's get straight down to business. I guess people want to hear your feelings on what's happening right now with this Grand Final Series. Obviously, on Tuesday afternoon, it was decided it would be cancelled, with the Sydney Kings deciding that they weren't willing to risk coming over to Perth. And if you listen to their reasons, I think it's pretty sound reasoning. But at the same time, it's hard to imagine any other decision except the fact that they forfeited the Grand Final Series. From the vice-captain of the Perth Wildcats' point of view, how do you see the whole situation?
Yeah, it's been I just said it's been a wild 11 years. It's been probably even a crazier last 72 hours.
Yeah.
You know, we were expecting to, I guess, play on Friday, and we were preparing for that. You know, it was Tuesday afternoon. I'd gone in that morning, get some shots up, and pretty much preparing for a Friday game decider at the arena. But I'm kind of off social media, so I do not get any of it. But you know, a message came through from one of the coaching staff, Jacob, that social media was going a bit bananas, and the game might be called off. And yeah, and it was. It all kind of happened pretty suddenly for me. I just got a text saying it's been cancelled.
Yeah.
And that was it. You know,
how quick. What did you do? What did you do Tuesday afternoon, and what have you done since in terms of, I guess, getting your heads around the whole situation?
Yeah, look, we got together Tuesday night, which was last night. But days kind of have no meaning right now. Tuesday night, and just, you know, had a few drinks and shared some stories. So it was a good night last night. We got together again today just for a lunch, and then we'll have some celebrations on Friday as well. And then it's kind of weird that then we're done. Like it's I mean, we're done now essentially. But you know, in the past we've had, you know, the grand final and then the final buzzer, and then you obviously have the ball as well, and the ball is kind of like the final closure. But it's interesting times we're living in.
What's it like now knowing that this time yesterday you were preparing to play on Friday night, and now you've got no more games to prepare for 6 months? What's that feeling like?
Yeah, a bit surreal actually. I don't think it's truly sunk in. Yeah, surreal, I'd say. Especially the games we were playing too was in front of a no crowd, which is surreal in and of itself. But very surreal. As I said, I don't think it's quite hit home. I'm not sure when it will. The season's actually over, but just bizarre.
You talked about you'll have some sort of celebration on Friday night or sometime between then and Friday, I guess, as well. You'll get together as a group. Do you expect to celebrate a championship, or what do you think should happen in that situation?
Yeah, look, believe it or not, and I'm not really, this isn't intended to sit on the fence or kind of dodge the question. I haven't really thought about it too much. It's out of our control. And again, that does sound like dodging the question.
No, but that's how you feel, it's not.
Yeah, I mean, you'd obviously like to finish the series and play, but, the decision was obviously taken out of our hands. And once again, the final decision is with the NBL. It would be nice to know, and I guess we'll have that decision, I expect, tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
Yeah, so we'll have that decision tomorrow, and I guess that'll provide a little closure on the season, I guess. But it's obviously pretty unprecedented in the league and worldwide with the events. So, it'll be interesting to see which way it falls.
Let's just take a second to not only thank Hoops Heaven for the enormous support they've given us here on Basketball Hustle this season, because as we've said from the very start, we wouldn't be able to do this show without their support. But let's also encourage all of our listeners, whether you get the chance to head into their store in person at Murray Street in the Perth City, or if you can jump online at hoopsheaven.com.au, now more than ever, in these times where everyone is affected by the coronavirus in some way, shape or form, we need to stick together as a basketball community, and Hoops Heaven is no different. They won't survive unless we support them and continue to buy our goods from them and continue to support them. They do an unbelievable job of supplying us with everything you could ever hope for in a basketball sense. All of the sneakers in the world you could ever hope for, all of your NBA merchandise, your NBL merchandise, your Nike gear, your Jordan gear, your Adidas gear, anything you can imagine, you can find it at Hoops Heaven and at hoopsheaven.com.au, and we really need to support them now more than ever. They haven't asked us to put out this plea, but we need you to support them because we just all need to rally together in these tough times. So head to hoopsheaven.com.au, and thanks to their support here on the show, when you get to checkout, use the code word HUSTLE, that's HUSTLE, and you'll get a special discount as well, and they'll take care of you. So thanks again to Hoops Heaven for their support, but please make sure you support them at hoopsheaven.com.au. If the league decides that you have won the championship, will it be in any way a hollow feeling? Will it mean as much as the other 5? How do you expect to feel if it goes that way?
Yeah, look, I'm not sure. Obviously, we're still proud of the season we've had, and I guess if it does go our way, I mean, it'll be obviously awesome. But at the same time, that feeling of the grand final siren kind of going off and the jubilation and the sitting in the locker room after, that feeling of, I guess, contentment and satisfaction and success, I don't think that can be really replicated. Coming off the, I guess, adrenaline of the game and 14,000 or wherever we were playing, there'd probably be more than 14,000 people screaming. And so I guess you'd miss that. But yeah, again, out of our control, so you got to live with it, I guess.
If it's decided that there's no championship awarded, would you feel cheated in any way, do you think? Or do you know how you would feel in that situation?
Cheated's an interesting word. I guess it's like a draw in soccer, isn't it? You can't.
You're in front, though. I mean, that's the difference.
Right. And that's the interesting one. So, obviously the league's got a decision to make, and, there's Sydney's argument as well, and obviously our argument, and I'm obviously on our side. But yeah, I'm not sure how I'd feel. It's almost not a wasted season, I guess. That's probably too harsh to say a wasted season, but I guess, just no closure. You don't have that, the result, I guess, and never will if that's the way it goes.
I'm not sure if you saw the press conference that your CEO Troy and Coach Trev did yesterday. They were pretty strong in their feelings towards how there should be no other decision except obviously the Wildcats winning the championship, and they were they were pretty disappointed in, I guess, the Kings not being willing to be flexible at all the whole way through. I don't expect you to replicate their feelings, but can you see both sides of it, or are you firmly, siding with the things that Trev and Troy said, or how do you see?
Yeah, look, I haven't seen their presser. Actually, as I said, I kind of avoid most of it. Yeah,
I'm sure they've said the same thing to you in private, though.
I beg your pardon?
I'm sure they probably said similar things to you, I guess, behind closed doors to what they were thinking.
Yeah, I mean, it's all happened so quickly, honestly, that, the timeline is so condensed, and obviously the decisions and possible outcomes and situations was changing by the minute, really, I guess, because of the unprecedented nature of the thing, I guess. So, yeah, I guess you can see both sides. As I said, from our point of view, we would have liked to have played, and, if we, say, did lose on Friday, I think, everyone was prepared to see it out and travel Sunday.
Yeah.
To decide it on at Sydney. So, but then again, you've got to look at it at their point, and things are changing fairly rapidly. But as I said, we would have liked to have played it out, I guess.
I think that's another strong argument that suggests that you should be awarded the championship if you were prepared to still fly over to Sydney. I guess despite the potential risks that you were facing the same things that Sydney was facing, and they weren't willing to come to Perth, then it's hard to see it in any other way than a forfeit, given the Kings were the ones that went to the NBL and cancelled the game. It wasn't like the NBL has cancelled this series. So the fact that you were willing to fly to Sydney on Sunday to play if you had to, and I assume you've decided that as a playing group, do you think that should be taken in consideration when the league's making the decision?
Firstly, I'm glad it's not me making the decision. Sure. I think either way there's going to be unhappy parties. But look, the threat is real. Look, it's not no one's discounting that, and there are reasons that Sydney didn't feel safe, and this environment is an interesting one. So I don't think no opinion invalid. I mean, everyone's opinion deserves some weight, and I guess that's what they decided theirs was. Okay,
let's get off that because it's all pretty heavy going. But I appreciate you. I appreciate you being candid and being willing to speak to us and being honest about it. An easier decision to make. If a grand final MVP is awarded, is it Nick Kay or Bryce Cotton?
I think Bryce. Don't get me wrong, Nick has had a hell of a year and series, I guess.
Yeah.
But for me, I think I don't want to discount Nick, but I think it's reasonably clear that Bryce should get it. I suspect even if we played game 4 or 5 and he got injured, knock on wood, or didn't score, he'd almost still get it.
Yeah.
He's had a hell of a year, and this series and the basketball he's been playing is at an extremely high level, I think.
Let's go back to last Friday night. We were 2 of the few people in the building, so was Shawn, and we talked about it on our show last week with Shawn's thoughts on the whole situation. This time last week, we didn't really think it was a possibility that you'd be playing in front of an empty stadium. I guess it wasn't really until a bit after 2 o'clock on Friday that decision was finally made. From a player's point of view, what was that whole experience like?
Again, surreal. You don't often enter the Perth Arena and there's no one there. But in saying that, I think the club did a really good job. I guess the game night production was pretty similar. So they had the dances, they had the videos, they had the music, they had they had pretty much everything. So
the band was noisy.
Right. So it was surreal, but I was actually expecting to be more surreal, I guess. I was expecting to be weirder. But once the game got started, obviously you can hear a lot more what goes on court, and probably a bit easier to communicate, and the momentum, I guess, changes a bit easily without the crowd backing you. But apart from that, it wasn't as crazy as I thought it would be.
Yeah, I agree. I felt like once you're into the game, probably especially in the second half, you found yourself getting lost in the game like you would on a normal. One thing that Shawn did notice, he found that he could hear everything on the court a lot more clearly. And there was one thing that stood out to him, and he talked about it on our show that we released earlier. Andrew Bogut, his big dunk. After his dunk, he came over to the Wildcats bench. He went up to Trevor Gleeson, and this is according to Shawn, so who knows if it's gospel or not. And he asked for Jesse Wagstaff to be put into the game immediately. Did you hear that? What are your thoughts on that? And did you go up to Trevor and say, "Put me in then, coach"?
Well, I don't even understand why he said that. I don't. I didn't even hear that. I don't even know. I guess he wanted to dunk on me. I don't know.
That's exactly that was my reaction to Shawn when he told me.
Yeah, Hold up.
We had an
My
accident.
kid just fell off the wall. Come here, Bummers.
Who are you introducing us to, Jesse?
Well, this is Kems, and she's currently crying because she fell off the backyard wall. That's what my off season's going to look like. He's looking after our three little munchkins. Steph's been doing it all season, so I guess it's my turn. Yeah, I'm not sure why Bogut said. I've got a pretty dunkable, I guess, stature about me. I can't really jump over credit cards, so I guess he just wanted to dunk on me. He won't be the last, and he's definitely not the first.
That was my reaction. Sean had a different take. Sean said that he thought it was because Plumlee couldn't guard him, and he wanted a better challenge in terms of being defended, but I didn't quite buy that.
Yeah, I'm not buying that. I think old Miles is a bit bigger and stronger and quicker than me, so I'll stick with I probably just wanted another victim.
What about Sunday? Obviously, Sean and I weren't there to see what the difference was like with no crowd there. How different was Sunday compared to what we saw on Friday night with no crowd?
Yeah, look, very similar. They kind of kept the production value pretty similar. They had the music, they had the dances, they had the blackout. Similar, I would say, a similar sized crowd. Opposite the benches this time.
Yeah.
We had a pretty good showing, actually. A lot of family was there, Nicks and Nordos, Damos. So we had a pretty good Wildcat showing, and especially in such a small crowd, you can kind of hear everything. So, no, look, it was quite similar, and I guess to some extent you're a bit more used to it, but yeah, it's still a bit weird.
Your role, especially during the playoffs, but the whole season, I guess a lot of people, when any athlete gets past 30, they start to think that they're winding down, but your body looks healthy, you're playing a really important role. I think every time down the second half of important games that Trev's gone for the smaller ball lineup of you and Nick, it's been a match-winning move just about every time he's gone for it. The role that you've been playing and the basketball you've been playing and the way you're holding up physically, you don't look like you're anywhere near the end of your career just yet.
Well, I feel a bit different. Look, I feel a bit older and slowing down a bit, but I do feel pretty good. And,
yeah.
I'm 30. What am I? 33, I guess.
Yeah.
So I still feel like I've got some good basketball to play.
Yeah.
I think I've been lucky too that since my time in the Wildcats, I've played with, don't want to say three of the greats, but I mean, Shawnee, Maddie, and Nick now are three pretty dominant, foremen.
Yep.
So I've been lucky enough that I play with them and kind of fly under the radar a bit because of their talent and skill. And so, yeah, I guess if I can keep on playing and keep contributing, I will. So, yeah, who knows, I guess.
When you're playing great now, it doesn't look like the end's creeping up on you at all. Contract-wise, though, you're locked in for next season. How are you situated in terms of that?
Yeah, so I'm still, I've got... Well, next year, I guess, if it goes ahead, I guess, next year. And then, I'm off after next year. So next year will be a contract year and we'll see.
Now that we're getting very close to the end of our first season here on Hoop 7's Basketball Hustle, a big reminder to all our listeners that you've still got an opportunity to win your very own set of playing singlets. That's right, you can design them yourselves. You can put whatever you want on them. They'll get made and manufactured all just for you, thanks to ID Athletic. ID Athletic, one of our great partners here at Hoop 7's Basketball Hustle, have been kind enough to offer one of our listeners their very own set of playing singlets. So whether you're a social team, a junior team, whatever level of basketball you're playing at, you might not get to wear them, unfortunately, for a month or two now, thanks to everything we're going through. But once you hit the court again, you'll be able to look your very best in your own set of basketball singlets. So all you have to do is jump on Facebook, jump on our Twitter account, jump on our Instagram, type in Basketball Hustle, send us a photo of the current playing singlets that your team is playing in. Tell us why you need a new set of singlets. And next week on our very last show of this season, Shawn Redhage, the scoring machine, will pick out a winner and we'll announce the winner, thanks to ID Athletic, of a brand new, custom designed and printed and made set of basketball singlets for you and your team. Make sure you head to our social media pages, get your entry in, and also head to ID Athletic at idathletic.com for all of your basketball apparel needs. Let's assume that you'll be awarded at the championship this season because I think it's just the right thing to do, so I think it has to happen. Could have you ever imagined 11 years ago that you'd be a 6-time NBL championship winner and no one in the history of the league has won more championships than you would have?
Well, I don't want to jinx it, first of all, so let's just go 5.
Yep.
No, I mean, 5. I mean, you speak about it with Damo, and as you said, we got here at the same time, and I think it's just you don't ever expect that when you get to a place and starting professional basketball. You don't ever expect that. As I said, I'm now married. Damo's now married. Yep. He's got 2 kids. I've got 3 kids. We've kind of grown up together, I guess, somewhat. still pretty immature. But you look at how life's changed in the last 11 years. It's pretty spectacular and memorable, I think.
Do you expect to have played your last game with Damo, or do you have any idea? If you know something you shouldn't know, don't tell us here, because he's let Damo announce it himself. But what do you think he'll do? Do you think there's a chance he'll play on?
Yeah, look, I don't know, and that's his decision. I don't know. I've always respected that. Even at contract time, it's always his decision, and decisions are bigger than the team. You got to look at family and time of your life. So yeah, look, I'm not sure. I think he's off contract, so it's been a phenomenal player for the last 11 years, and I think probably time for another discussion, but I think arguably the greatest Wildcat ever. There's a debate for you. So I'm not sure. I think he's shown in the series that he's obviously was a bit injured earlier on in the year, and but he's shown he can still contribute. And when you add that 1-2 punch of him and Nordo, still think it's very formidable. So we'll see, but I guess that's his decision, and yeah, we'll see.
It is a great debate, isn't it? Because I think what's been lost, that people have been talking about Bryce as potentially being the greatest Wildcat ever and starting to rival Ricky Grace, but you've played alongside 2 guys, Damo and Shawn, who probably deserve to be in that discussion too.
I think Shawn is equal to Grace with maybe club MVP.
Yep.
But I think Damo played in the Olympics. He's captained the club for the last 8 maybe years.
Yeah.
5 championships. He's up there on the games list. Whatever time defensive player of the year.
6, yeah.
6, yeah. That's unprecedented.
Yeah.
And then I think he's won every single Wildcats defensive player of the year.
Yep.
So it's probably an argument that he is.
Do you expect to see maybe even while you're still playing, to see both number 42 and number 53 up in the rafters while you're still playing, or even sometime in the next couple of years? Yeah,
look, I'm not sure if I'll still be playing, but I fully expect them both to be hanging up there. Again, that's probably a decision for people high in places much higher than me, but I think both of those are kind of no-brainers.
Whose book would you be most likely to read if they both wrote one?
Damo's. He would have some stories. I would still read Shawnee's, but Damo, if it was all access, I tell you what, he'd have some stories.
Okay, maybe I need to finish Shawn's first and then see if Damo's keen to do one as well, and maybe we can have a double act.
It might. I'm not sure if it'll be all PG rated, but it'll definitely be interesting.
What I do know is that there's more chance that I'm required to write Damo's for him than I am with Shawn. I think Damo's much less likely to sit down and write it himself.
Yeah, we'll see.
What about your family? Go back 11 years. I think you would have expected to still be here with Steph 11 years later. When did you know that you wanted to have a family together, and what's it like now having 3 children and being married?
Yeah, look, I think when Steph first came out to Australia, we were living in Scarborough, and she was definitely homesick. I remember her looking at me and saying, "I'm never having kids here." I said, "That's fine. Like we can move back." And now 3 kids later, so she's a citizen. She loves it. I'm not sure where we'll live post basketball. I'd be happy to move back to the States. Yeah. That's where her family's from, and they're a very close family unit. And they come out to visit now, obviously with the kids, the grandkids, and see them every year. So yeah, I'm not sure where life will take us in the next 11 years, I guess. But if it's anything like the last 11, I'm sure it'll be good. That
was my next question. I was wondering if, because the whole time I knew you guys before you had kids, it was always a discussion that post-basketball would be a possibility that you would go back to the United States, but I guess it's still something that you're still trying to make a final decision on.
Yeah, I mean, we'd still contemplate it. The kids are 3 now, and we've got a 2-month-old and a 20-month-old, nearly a 2-year-old. So life's pretty hectic right now, and they'll be starting school pretty soon. And so it's a big life decision. We're happy in Perth, and we'll see. I mean, we're happy in Denver. So, I think it's not about really where you're at, it's how happy you are. So we can be happy kind of anywhere. So we'll see.
I guess because of what's happening with coronavirus, I guess we don't know any answers right now and what's happening moving forward. But what's your plan for an off-season like this? What do you look to do for the next 6 months before you, ramp up pre-season training fully again?
I'm not too certain, to be honest. I haven't really thought about it. I mean, we usually head back to the States as a family, but this year it's off the cards now, but it was already off the cards. We didn't really want to travel with 3 little rat bags. It was bad enough with 2 last year. So we weren't going to travel. We're just going to stick around Perth, maybe go down south or up north and get away as a family like that. But I think pretty quiet, actually. Yeah, just kind of mooch around and spend some time with the family.
Are you still studying at all, or have you got all of the degrees that you need for now?
actually just started up again.
Started up?
So,
wow.
Yeah, so I was halfway through a Masters of Financial Planning, so I've started that up again.
Okay. Do you think, I mean, it could be engineering, it could be finance, it could be any sort of field that you end up settling on. Do you know what you might want to do career-wise once you stop playing?
Absolutely no idea. We shall see. It's watch your space. If anyone's got a job out there that they want to offer in a couple of years or however many years, we'll touch base.
Is that a good position to be in, knowing that you can pretty much go and choose any field of work you want to work in, and you'll have some sort of qualifications in it? Do you feel like that's a good position to be in?
Yeah, yes and no. I'm well aware that I'll be a 30-something. I'll have the pieces of paper, but I won't have too much experience. So I'm well aware of that, and I'll be starting at the bottom. But yeah, whatever that field may be in, I guess.
Going back to Shawn for a second, when he retired, the season after, when you played without him for the first time, did you notice that a lot of the heckling on the road that he had been copping started coming in your direction? And has that been picking up the last couple of years?
Not really. I reckon it's probably tapered off a bit, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe I'm just ignoring it or not hearing it anymore. No, I mean, you get heckled anywhere you go, and I think any team gets heckled. I'm sure every team that comes to Perth cops a berating. So, what goes around comes around. But I haven't really noticed a noticeable uptick, I guess.
What's the best trick that you learned off him from watching him go about his business?
What's the best? Sorry,
the best trick that you learned off him. He had all sorts of little. You were always pretty good at it, but Shawn just had that extra way of getting under an opposition's skin that I don't think you had when you first got here.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Look, I think, not necessarily a trick, but I think Shawnee's work ethic was up there with the best. He just worked hard every day in, day out, practice, game, didn't matter. He was always getting after it. So I think, if you can take something like that from him, it's probably better than any little trick, I guess. But his work ethic was kind of second to none.
All right, Jesse, I could probably keep talking to you all day, but you've probably got better things to do given the 3 little ones that you've got on your hands right now. The best thing about the season ending is that the fact that you get to stay home now and you don't have to jump on a plane every few days, and you get to stay home and see these little munchkins.
Yeah, it's certainly different, getting home from practice and seeing 3 little rat bags, but now you get to wake up with them. So it'll definitely be good, and as I said, spend some time with the family and just hang out for a while.
Right, very special edition of Hoops Heaven's Basketball Hustle, all about Jesse Wagstaff, and I hope everyone enjoyed the insight and the openness that he was willing to provide. Always a pleasure to catch up with you, Jesse, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks, mate. Have a good one.
Bye, have a great time.